Next question is, hi Lisa, would you please talk about how to know the difference between your spirit guides or angels sending you a message? So she's talking about spirit guides, those are different things. And our own inner voice or our subconscious mind talking to us. Okay, so what we're really talking about here is, how do you know whether or not this is guidance that you are receiving, right, from the spiritual and metaphysical realms, or whether it's just your thinking mind that's in there, right? Okay, so the answer to your question is that they feel different. When you are receiving guidance, the signs and the symbols and the things that happen are usually far more subtle than when the thinking mind and the ego are jumping in with its opinion, right? It's a different vibration. They feel differently. And it's really with practice that you will be able to differentiate between the two. So you just take little baby steps in that direction. You know, you're talking about working with spirit guides, which is different than working with your intuition, right? Your intuition is when you're using your intuitive instrument, which is your human body and all of its six senses that it has, you know, the six sense versions of your physical senses, to be able to receive, interpret, and use the information that is coming your way in the form of vibration, right? So that's a little different. Now, if you want to sit down and you want to work with your spirit guides, or if you want to work with angels, and angels are not exclusive, they're available to everyone. Spirit guides tend to be assigned to you, or you can call on them and they're working, you know, specifically for you in particular context. And you end up creating your own personal language of signs and symbols with them. For example, you might actually hear them speaking to you, right? So you're using the sixth sense of hearing. I'm not going to talk about all the fancy words, right? For that, let's just talk about sixth sense of hearing. Some of you might get it, or you might get it as a vignette or a movie that plays in your third eye. You know, you see it that way. You gather the information. It might totally also be physical. Now, the interesting thing about your intuitive senses and working with your spirit guides is that there is a point where they intersect, because the spirit world knows how you can receive vibration. So they know that they can tap into, because they're energy, right? So they can tap in and send in on that same vibration highway that you're working with your intuition. They can work on that too, but they are separate. So they feel, it feels differently. Not all spirit guides have a great positive energy. You know, there are some out there that are heavy duty negative energy that might be trying to inject, you know, a particular perspective or opinion, and there's a heaviness to that one. So you can feel, in addition to which ones are working with you versus your inner voice, and also which ones have your best interest at heart and which ones don't. That is a practice where you want to practice keeping negative energy at bay. I tend to do it in a Reiki field. There's lots of ways that you can do it, but be cognizant of it, right? That you only want the information that is in your highest interest and best good to come through, not any information. This is where training and practice come into play, and why they are so important. It's totally possible for you to get a hit of guidance from what you might believe is a spiritual guide, and because it's coming from the spirit world, you will believe it and act on it, and it might not have your best interest as its focal point, right? So you have to be very careful about that as well. Developing the inner voice, we talked about this before, right? Meditation is great. Understanding your body as an intuitive instrument and discovering which of your intuitive senses are already up and working for you, because your spirit guides and the angels will tap into those six sensory abilities of yours, so that they know that you're getting it. And then you have to practice it. And I would say practice on small questions first. Really something, you know, as simple as, I mean, sometimes I do it in traffic. Should I go right or should I go left? You know, but maybe what is a change that I can make in my current life that will put me closer into alignment with what it is that I need to be doing to fulfill my soul purpose? See, now there's a good question, right? To figure that one out. And then start looking for the signs and symbols. Sometimes they come right away. You know, you can actually have a session with yourself and they come right away. Other times you get them, they sort of dripped out. You know, you might get them, like, for example, you might be trying to decide, where is the best place for me to go on vacation next year, you know, that will give me the experiences that I want and will be just the perfect spot for me to go. And in your mind, you might be saying, oh, I want to go to Italy, or maybe I want to go to Spain, or maybe it's Greece, you know, and you're constantly working, you know, that around. And then you're in traffic at a traffic light and you see a truck that goes by that says, eat Italian cheese. And then you go into a restaurant and they're playing O Solo Mio on the restaurant, you know, sound system. And then you start getting the signs for Italy, 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 right? We call those synchronicities. So pay attention to that sort of thing, the synchronicities that are coming into your life. If you don't have a real strong ability to be able to understand what's coming from your spirit guides or your inner voice, you're going to have to start trying to gather the clues, and then you'll be able to figure it out from the pattern of the clues that come your way.